I thought for my segment today, I would kind of just go through what exactly is happening with this Trump trial that could lead to Trump's prison sentence. This is the first criminal trial against any president in U.S. history.
Weird.
And it all goes back to 2017 era, just like all this stuff you're talking about.
Harambe broke it.
Because it's all about Stormy Daniels. This is the Stormy Daniels trial where essentially the original trial, which was to prove that Trump committed a campaign violation by allegedly giving hush money to former porn star Stormy Daniels.
Adult film actress,
sex worker, sorry.
Yeah, not a star.
She's not a star.
No,
She's a porn regular.
So I didn't know this until I started looking into all this. But apparently they met at a golf tournament in Nevada, which is just such a boomer thing. But she claims that they had sex. Trump has to this day not admitted that. He says she's completely making it up. But either way, it wouldn't be, the crime is not about whether he had sex with her. It is about whether he paid her to not say anything. And then this trial is not about whether he paid her or not, and if it's a campaign violation. It's actually about whether he did not properly reflect in his business records that he paid her hush money.
With
Campaign.
money from the organization? From Trump organization?
No, just that it's illegal in general. So they haven't been able to prove that it was his campaign. So they ditched that argument. Now they're trying to find if it was just a business lie in his business ledger.
But
so
like-
they're grasping for straws.
Okay, but if he writes that check from his personal account, how is any of that a crime to pay somebody to not talk about having sex with you?
Yeah.
Well,
You can have people sign NDA. No offense, Vinny, if I banged Vinny and I go, hey, that was a mistake, we got drunk, I don't want you telling anybody, sign this NDA, I'll give you $100,000. That's illegal.
Sold.
Well, so what they're hoping
I'll
for.
never talk.
This is
Will
how.
it
This
need
is how.
that many zeros to buy your silence on it, Vinny?
That's fine.
Yeah, $10 on the neck.
Yeah.
No, but the whole thing is very tenuous because they're basically trying to prove that it happened through the business ledger thing.
Okay.
So that then they could say, therefore, it was a campaign violation. But as Trump says, they don't have jurisdiction to prosecute a federal crime because it's Alvin Bragg, a district attorney in New York. So one wouldn't connect to the other.
Kind of position as a felony.
So now what this is it could become a felony in the state of New York though because
It could.
hold on. The falsification of business records in New York is a misdemeanor, but can become a felony should prosecutors establish that the falsification helped cover up a crime. So the crime would then be that he was covering up was the campaign violation. But they can't prove that because they're not a federal court. So Trump is saying that the whole thing is complete nonsense and won't actually lead anywhere. But the thing is that all 34 counts of falsification of business records are Class E felonies, and each carry the weight of a 4-year maximum prison sentence. While Justice Juan Merchant said he would not hesitate to imprison Trump, he could just as easily sentence him to probation, so that could be a possibility. But the Secret Service this is a new report from yesterday from CBS, they've already met with prison officials in New York.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday.
Yes. So this is crazy because, by the way, this is all on VT.com. This is crazy because it means that they have at least some reasonable suspicion that Trump could be sentenced, and they're making preparations to make sure that he's protected.
Could they just, I mean, it doesn't sound like our government to be proactive. Could they just be proactive and checking to make sure everything would be okay if he were to end up?
Well, yes, but the fact that they would do that.
And it's not his Secret Service because he has his own. He has Secret
his
Service that
private
protects
security.
him from the Secret Service.
Yeah, bro, is that wild? He has to have people watching the government appointed. Rob, think about that. Would you trust them? Jeremy, would you trust the freaking Secret Service?
So the Praetorian Guard were the members that were they were special army unit that were responsible for protecting emperors. And they were the group that most often killed emperors.
Yeah. Weird. Weird.
That's why when RFK was like complaining that he couldn't get Secret Service like detail, I'm like, I know it's expensive, but do you want it?
Yeah.
Or aren't you saying like I have to, especially with your
Especially with
family's
his-
history?
Yeah, with his
the federal
uncle?
government?
Are you freaking crazy?
Well, to bring it back to the Roman point real quick, that's why it's such a problem that they keep trying to call Trump Caesar. Because look at the solution that was implemented to stop Caesar from doing whatever it was they thought he was going to do. It's just, oh, what if we just stabbed him a bunch?
Well, and that's once again where the whole history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes thing, because something that happened in the late Republic is, so you had the highest office in Rome was something called the consul. And there were always two of them because they were afraid of kings. So they always wanted two people to share power. So in 59 BC, Caesar is consul. And in that year, the other guy, his name was Marcus Biblius, didn't have a lot of power. So traditionally, they would call the year of those consuls. So it would be Caesar and Biblius. But instead, they called it the consulship of Julius and Caesar, is what they would call it, because he was basically the only guy doing everything.
Wow.
And he did a lot of things that were very populist. So he gives land to troops that had come back from serving. He handles the grain dole better than the Gracchi had done a generation before. So he does a lot of these very popular things. So he serves for a year, and then he goes off for a 9-year campaign on Gaul.
Jeez.
So he doesn't want to re-enter the city after his Gaul campaign, because what would happen is after somebody had had their consulship, they would pass laws, and they would prosecute the person who was consul before the laws existed for the laws that they made after their consulship. So in the late Republic, you would have a guy that would never want to relinquish power, and it's not just Caesar. It happened with guys before him. You had, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the name now. But you've had consuls that they were only supposed to have power twice. They would have it 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's why even Sulla, who declares himself dictator before Caesar, doesn't want to relinquish power. Because if they give up power, they get charged with crimes they did that weren't crimes when they did them. It's very late Republic stuff.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, go ahead, Shane.
Shockingly similar.
Yeah, weird.
It's insane, the parallels. And then I also wonder, like, did they have people like Soros in Rome? Because so much of this is the marionetting of different levels of power by these billionaires. Like Alvin Bragg himself, it's often said
Marcus
that he...
Crassus.
So he was the very wealthy man, right?
So the first triumvirate, and it wasn't like an official thing. So I mentioned Caesar having his consulship in 59. There's a private agreement between Pompey the Great, Crassus, and Julius Caesar. It's called the First Triumvirate. So basically, these three guys are privately deciding everything that's going to happen in the city of Rome. Crassus was the richest guy in Rome, and what he would do is lend all the money to all the other politicians when they're running for office. And the reason Caesar makes a lot of decisions he makes is, number one, he owes a lot of money to Crassus, but number two, he was broke his entire life because he would continue to take money from Crassus to be able to do the things he was going to do. So if you want to say, was there a George Soros type character, it's Marcus Crassus.
Son of a bitch.
Well, so the modern day Crassus has funded Alvin Bragg, and Bragg is the guy who brought this all to court, and he is a district attorney. Bragg was funded through Color of Change PAC, but it's still ultimately from Soros.
It's George Soros.
Let's play this clip first of Don Jr.
And what is he upset about in here? I mean, obviously the whole thing.
This is a good summary of what's going on.
Okay, let's hear it.
The world. But the fact that they are holding a rally across the seat from this very witch hunt, right across the street, tells us exactly what we all knew all along, that it is a political persecution. It is a witch hunt. There is a reason one of the people sitting at that desk was the number 3 person in Joe Biden's DOJ. I know my father is not allowed to say Matthew Colangelo in his name, right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
They're having a rally across the street.
I think Rob's going to get Rob's going to get to this, but Robert De Niro was I don't know if you saw, but he was ranting outside the courthouse.
We had a mask on, but we'll talk about that too.
And it wasn't just him doing it. He was put up there by the Biden campaign itself.
Of course.
Along with 2 police officers that were there at Capitol Hill on January 6th. So Don Jr.'s point is, this is, the whole idea is that, it's just a criminal trial. It's just because, no one's above the law. No, this is an absolute political hit job to the point where the Biden campaign is there celebrating it.
Exactly.
And then let's play this clip of Trump making the same point.
Make no mistake about it. I'm here because of crooked Joe Biden. The worst president in the history of our country is destroying our country. This country is being destroyed rapidly, not slowly, rapidly. On the borders, on energy, on inflation, on everything you can name. Afghanistan removal, everything about what he's done. He's destroying our country. And he's also destroying it with weaponization. And this is purely his weaponization.
So the guy next to him is Ted Blanche. He is Trump's defense lawyer in this trial. I'm sorry, Todd Blanche.
Todd.
He.
That's him?
Yeah. So no, this is
That's
is
not-
the prosecution assistant. So
He looks
I'm
like
gonna
a
get to that.
prosecuting
This
judge.
guy's name is Joshua Steinglass. He is such a piece of shit. I was reading about him.
Yeah.
Basically, he just hates Trump, and his whole thing is just hating Trump.
That's
And,
his whole life, his existence.
His whole life. Well, he's a veteran lawyer in New York, but he goes after violent crimes. But I was thinking about this. So in 2019 he convicted 2 Proud Boys members for some scuffle outside of a Republican clubhouse. And I'm thinking, I'm like, what about all of the other violent crime that goes on in New York? Where the fuck is this guy for all that? He's
He
just
bears
fucking.
a resemblance to Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
he's
he
kind of
does.
close.
He looks like the Penguin.
He is the Penguin.
And he's just like this, smug bastard. Like Rob says, my neck picture smug. Look at this, Rob. That's
pretty
true
smug,
smugness.
Yeah, but that's New York smug. You had DC swamp monster
yeah.
smug
That
in
is
yours.
that is
Yeah.
very you're right. That's a little bit
This
smug.
guy looks
But-
like
but
he has more
my
chins
point
than
stands.
convictions on his record.
Okay, but
Hey-o.
so this guy, he gave his argument for the latter half of yesterday, and his point is basically that Trump is or Cohen was a hired gun or fixer who had a brawler-like boots on the ground role at the Trump organization. He said that these guys, as in Trump and Cohen, know each other well. They speak in coded language and they speak fast. So that's his argument. Like Trump is like, why don't you guys prove you're bringing the case up? So the burden of proof is on you. Prove that I told him to do any of this.
Yeah.
Prove that Cohen was told to do this. And so this Steinglass is saying, well, I don't have to prove that because they spoke in coded language and they spoke fast.
Oh, God.
So read between the lines. So he's trying to indict him on reading between the lines.
That's not going to work.
Bear in
And
mind,
then,
Michael Cohen is a convicted serial perjurer who confessed to like 3 or 4 felonies on the stand, and he's their star witness.
Yeah, and Cohen 2 weeks ago admitted that he stole $60,000 from Trump previously. So the only thing that they have determined in this whole trial is that Cohen has stolen from Trump. That's the only crime that they've proven. But since he's not on trial for that, then they can't prosecute Cohen. But so, anyways, Blanche's whole thing was that Cohen is the gloat or greatest liar of all time. He called him the MVP of liars and the human embodiment of reasonable doubt. He also suggested that Cohen edited the digital evidence presented on his phones, including audio recordings, that they should be thrown out. And then this is crazy. Blanche presented audio recordings of Cohen giddy to the point of being maniacal. This is the New York Times description. In reaction to news that Trump was indicted, to insinuate Cohen is politically and personally motivated. And then also, he brought this meme that Cohen had shared of Trump in an orange jail jumpsuit, basically celebrating it. And the New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman said the audio clips were among the most damaging pieces of evidence entered to impeach Cohen. So even the New York Times reporters are saying at this point, Cohen, their star witness, is not very trustworthy. He seems like he could be impeached as someone that's whose evidence matters in this trial, and the whole thing is going to fall apart. But if it's not, if this judge decides no, Trump is completely guilty, Trump could be facing multiple decades in prison. That's the maximum sentence.
I
but-
really wish. I hope he gets. I want him in jail.
Yeah.
I want them to
Because,
arrest
like
him
you were
and
saying,
put
the
him in jail.
Mandela-
Nelson Mandela.
aspect,
This will
yeah.
make, dude. I'm telling, like, and again, this is such a. You know what bothers me? That we, the people, are all watching this unfold and we can't do shit.
Right.
Because it's the law.
Right.
Because you can't stop them, Jimmy. You can't, like, everybody except unless you're a leftist, brainwashed sheep, it's completely obvious. Like, I was texting one of my old LA friends. I wouldn't even consider him a friend at this point. Just like, hey, man, what they're doing is, he's guilty. I'm like, shut the hell up, bro.
Yeah.
I go, you're.
It's the law. Nothing. No one's above the law, and yet they selectively apply the law whenever they want.
I think there's less people like that, though, and I think there's more people that have, been guilty of a crime that they didn't do, or maybe they got a parking ticket that they weren't guilty of. I think there's a lot of people that are like, they're mad at the court system, they're mad at the state, and this actually just makes people support Trump more.
Oh, especially the minority base, bro. I'm telling you guys right now.
Yeah.
What that rally in New York,
In
people
Bronx,
are
yeah.
freaking
That was awesome.
tired of this shit, bro. And it's like nothing's working. Your tactics are backfiring. What's up, Rob?
Well, you said that there's nothing we can do, but I feel like this is doing something.
Yes.
It may not be storming the courthouse, but I do believe that.
Which you should not do, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't do that.
Correct. Because then I'll end up in a gulag. That's what my mom says. And when the Chinese invade, I'll be eating our dog. That's what she tells me. But you are doing something by highlighting this and trying to expose this for other people to understand and see what's going on. So I hate when people feel defeated like that, because I don't think we should feel defeated. I feel like this is when they're clearly weaponizing the justice system to persecute Trump. Look at what's his name? Who's the actor that just came out?
Talk to me.
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis
just
Quaid
came out and said, you know what really made me support Donald Trump was
This
looking
whole
at
thing.
what they're doing and how they're using the justice system as a weapon
him,
to put him in jail. So I do think that you guys are doing things. And Andres, I sent you a video. I don't know if you could play
we want
it
to
real
go
quick.
right now?
It's real quick.
Oh, go wait.
But this is great.
This isn't your story. This isn't your story, though.
No. This is Kash Patel from last week. So outside of the courthouse, all of the people that are supporting Trump have shown up and spoke to the press. Kash Patel is outside, and this is where he talks about, after all of the investigations, all of the weeks spent in trial, they have finally found someone who is guilty of a crime.
Yeah.
Michael Cohen, who admitted on the stand to committing 6, 7 felonies. And not only did we now finally, after all of these weeks of testimony, have we found a criminal, we've also found a victim. And that victim, oddly enough, is the person that's on trial, Donald J. Trump. If you can't play it, it's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll just tell you now then. The person that is on trial right now is the victim of a crime, because Michael Cohen admitted to stealing $30,000 to $60,000 from the Trump organization. Yeah. So just for him to go out and highlight that there is a criminal, but the criminal is actually the star witness who is there in the trial testifying against the victim that man stole money from. Yeah. That should tell you
It's
everything
insane.
you need to know that this is insane.
And I know all the details, like it gets very boring, and it's like, why, like, trust me, I had to write this whole article, which, by the way, it's on VT.com. Read it, because it took 1,500 words, this whole boring ass thing, and that's built on nothing. But it's still important to learn about it all, just to realize how ridiculous it is, so that you can be caught up to where we're at right now. If the former president and possibly future president goes to jail, it's going to be important to know why and just how tenuous and ridiculous the evidence was.
Because think about how they use, Trump's been impeached twice. That must mean he's terrible.
Talking points.
No, he was impeached twice for ridiculous, made-up reasons. Yeah. But,
Twice impeached.
Yeah.
Twice impeached.
Yeah,
Twice
twice
impeached.
impeached.
No, Trump
Not
goes
my
to-
POTUS.
Trump goes to jail. It's like, are you really? You're gonna.
But that's also
a
definitions-
convicted.
He's a
inmate?
criminal.
A convict is going to become. Okay, so
They
it's just
take
a talking
advantage of
point.
people for not knowing definitions of words too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like to be impeached or to be indicted, it doesn't mean you did the thing. It just says somebody says you're guilty of doing the thing. They still have to prove it. Yeah. But I think the media takes extreme advantage of people for not knowing the definition of
People
words.
are dumb, and then they just go, "Oh, guess what? Yeah, Joe Biden might be a little old, but he's not been indicted 91 times."
That's the talking point. And
But they act like that indictment's a
And that's the
conviction.
reason for this whole thing. And I'm going to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, guys. Jeremy, and you just met me today. I'm being dead serious. Donald Trump can say things in locker rooms like, grab them by the pussy all day. He can say that all day. He can get impeached 1,000 times. He can bang 10,000 Stormy Daniels and give them whatever the hell he wants. I don't give a shit. I would rather have him with his policies and his brashness and his scaring the shit out of all these other countries to have what we had until COVID hit. I want that back. The only thing that was hurting in this country was people's feelings. And I can give two shits about people's feelings, okay? We were kicking ass like we've never done before. Say what you want. Those 3 years, greatest presidential run, I think, personally, in the history of this country.
First
okay?
president in 70 years to have no new wars. And when he said that at the Libertarian Convention, they booed him.
Yeah.
They
They booed him,
like, oh, no, we want war.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can have your 3%. Your 3% is great.
Keep it, you
Next year,
loser.
you have
I love
another-
that.
But I'm just
Keep it up, third-party candidates. Harambe beat you that
Yeah,
one time.
I'm just tired of it. I just hope to God. I mean, dude, I hope he wins. We could talk life after Trump on another podcast.